Here at today's topic, we are in the middle of a three-part series focused on the question, what is Ludosport? With each episode diving into detail on a single word of my original three-word answer, sporting lightsaber combat. Last video, we focused on the sporting part and talked about different ways that people can participate in the sport at large. But there are all kinds of things that are labeled sports these days, you might say, from basketball to gymnastics to, rifle skiing? Hell, even video games is considered a sport in this brave new world. So when we say Ludosport is a sport, I think it's certainly fair to ask, well, what kind of sport do we mean? Well, let's talk about that. Hello everyone, welcome to today's topic. My name's Michael, also known as Longbow in our sparring and other videos. Today we're continuing our series on the question, what is Ludosport? In our first video I gave the basic answer of sporting lightsaber combat, and since then we've been breaking down each component of that phrase one by one. Today we're going to jump around a little bit and talk about combat. You know what? I'll admit, I can be a bit heavy-handed in how I classify Ludosport on this whole sport versus martial arts spectrum. And I get that my heavy emphasis on the sporting aspect of Ludosport definitely has the potential to confuse some people. Because if you come to one of our classes, it's sure going to feel a heck of a lot like a martial arts class. We drill techniques to precision. We spar with each other. We're all wearing these sweet-looking uniforms. The techniques we practice are grouped into different sets of moves that we refer to as forms. The techniques within each of those forms all share a common combat philosophy, with each form's approach to combat being a bit different. There's a system of progression where you earn ranks as you gain proficiency in the form you're practicing, which in turn entitles you to learn new forms and add new techniques to your repertoire. It all seems very martial arts class-like. So what's that all about? Well, look, other than the whole real-world efficacy issue that we've already gone over at length, I'd say you're probably right. What we do in class is pretty close to what you'd find practicing any other martial art. The reason for this is that the sport in question, the one in which we're all training to compete, is a combat sport. The way that you score points and ultimately win a Ludosport duel or tournament match is by simulating the infliction of a lethal blow to your opponent. So hitting him with your blade in, say, the torso area or the top of the head, as opposed to, say, hitting the hands, which anyone who watches Star Wars knows is by no means a career-ending injury. We'll save the full details on scoring for another video, but suffice to say, to win a Ludosport match, you basically have to simulate, underline, killing your opponent with your lightsaber. And if that's how your sport works, well, your training is going to look a lot like training in a martial art. It's just that the ultimate purpose of all that training is squarely aimed at competitive applications and never any real-world scenarios. Now, I personally loved this hybrid nature of Ludosport, and it was the main thing that drew me to this particular sport in the first place. It has all the interesting nuance and technical aspects of a martial art that make competing in those arenas like the physical version of playing a chess match, but without any of the potential injuries or minor deformities from repetitive strikes. I mean, check out the ears on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys if you don't know what I'm talking about there. Or just the prospect of having to deal with that inevitable one guy in your class who's really only there because he secretly just wants an excuse to hurt someone. Ludosport has none of that. Its principles of Sakuri, which we're going to go through in detail in a whole other video, I promise, ensures that everyone is training and competing with the utmost respect for their opponents. And those principles permeate the entirety of the sport, making it one of the safest ways out there to get your fix of what I like to call combat chess. So if you're like me, and if you like the idea of a sport which combines physical combat, tactical thinking, and cool looking techniques, but without the side effect of having to go into work on Monday looking like Ed Norton from Fight Club, then come check us out. We teach both introductory classes and a beginner series every week. Just check our schedule, sign up for a class, and come get your weekly combat fix. Alright everyone, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of today's topic. Thanks again for watching, especially you guys who are still with me all the way to the end of this video. You guys are the best. Thank you very much. And if you did enjoy this video, it'd be great if you could give us a like or a comment or subscribe to our page. But really the best thing is if you haven't been to a class yet, come this Saturday. You're gonna love it. 2:30 at Studio Mix in downtown San Francisco. We're going to be doing an intro class like we do every week, and it'd be great to have you. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.